Welcome to the Your Message Received podcast. And now, taking your message to the finish line, your host, John Duffin.
Hey folks, John Duffin here with Duffin Media. Welcome back to another episode of Your Message Received. Your Message Received is the place to help you find your best business voice, your most authentic and true voice. Get what you want, find what you need, improve your results, make $1 billion, find the man or woman or person of your dreams. And I can't guarantee those last two, but I would say the other ones I feel pretty damn confident about. And thanks for being here. Thanks for continuing to listen and like and catch us on iHeartMedia, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And one of the ways that we get and keep you here is to bring a bunch of way cool people that help me much more easily demonstrate how you can be your most authentic best self. And I get to do that again today. Folks, I'm introducing, by way of the stoops of Walnut Street, from the Midwest, by way of Walt Disney World, and now settled in Philadelphia and GoMagnum Loans, Ian McKee. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey. Yeah, John, I appreciate you having me on. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. And I didn't say podcast host yet. Ian does a lot of different things and has helped me see things from a vantage point that drew me to wanting to chat up Ian on the podcast today as well, man. And right off the bat, brother, I know a little bit about your background in terms of getting you here, but I don't know you if you don't make the journey to Philadelphia. What got you to Philadelphia?
Yeah, so I got started in the mortgage industry.
Mm-hmm.
I started January 15th of 2020, and I was in Wisconsin working for Bank of England Mortgage, and I met this gentleman, and he offered me a position. He was like, hey, I think you'd be a knockout as the in-house lender at KW Philadelphia. It's a great opportunity for you as a young man. And no spite or anything against Wisconsin. I felt my intuition was calling me to something bigger, and I'm a young man. And I was just, I'm like, yes, what could happen? That gave me a lot of excitement. So yeah, I moved out here April 1st of 2021, and it's been great.
But what gave you the guts to move?
I followed my intuition. I looked at numbers. There's a lot more action out here on the East Coast, period. There's a lot more people, there are a lot more homes, a lot more opportunity. It just seemed to make sense to me.
And in terms of that sense of just moving away from all that stuff, relatively easy to do for you?
Yeah, my family I grew up, moving, and I stayed in the same house that I stayed in my whole life growing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then once I went to college, my parents ended up, we got a place in North Carolina, a place in Arizona, and my parents really started to, travel, acquire new real estate. So I just really started to understand, you don't have to live where you live. If you want to change your situation, just do it, period.
So so you graduated from the University of Wisconsin Whitewater, and you're a golf nut as well too. Was that, like I said, so your parents are now starting to test the waters in terms of finding new things. What was the experience like? I noticed something in addition to the golf stuff. I noticed something there as well too that you were also doing, that you took notes for people that were unable to do so. Was that through your college years, or was that something like a side project? And I'll tell you in a second why I thought that was very, very cool that you would do that.
Oh yeah, so I was in a fraternity in college, and one of our was with Pike, so Pi Kappa Alpha. And
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, scholars, leaders, athletes, gentlemen, and one of that parts is community service. So yeah, pretty simple. I was just a note taker for my classes. I've always been a diligent student, so I had no problem doing that.
See, I wouldn't have needed 20 years to get through Villanova if I had been able to rely on a note taker. So I was like, oh my God. But I just thought it was a nice touch. Give me the mantra again for the fraternity. You
Oh
just
yeah.
hit the 4 points, right?
It's SLAG. It's scholars, leaders, athletes, and gentlemen.
That's really, really cool, man. So service, and is that where service started to get instilled, like in terms of with you? Is that where it like started to matter, or was it before?
No, it was before. So my
Mhm.
mom instilled that. I grew up, I'm Roman Catholic. I still go to
Mhm.
church every single Sunday.
Cool.
And my mom had us volunteer at like soup kitchens in the city of Chicago when we were young, like 10, 11, 12. We would just do it. And I think she was just teaching me a lesson.
And you're
Yeah.
showing up as a little kid. I mean, and I'm considering 10, 12 years old a little kid
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. 12, 14, 15. Yeah. All those years we did a little bit of volunteer work. And, it was, you're just doing it for, we're blessed. And
Mhm.
it's our responsibility to give to others. You got to let God flow through you. That's what my mom taught me at a young age, for sure.
Did you always did you buy into that always, or did it ever feel like forced on you? Not just the Roman Catholic part, but also that in essence of doing those sorts of things.
Yeah, I don't know. As a kid, you're just kind of growing up, and
Yep.
and a lot of it's just whatever your parents expose you to. So how can I further that question? What do you mean
No,
exactly?
simply the fact did you always accept that? Was that something that was like, oh, okay, great, or did you like resist and then eventually have it feel like, no, this feels true and right? That
No, I
sense
think
of
service is always an amazing thing. I've always been
Mhm.
a service-oriented person.
See, that's to me a big deal simply because a lot of people, I mean, that's not everybody, you know?
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was lucky, man. I grew up in a household of two parents that love each other, financially stable.
Mhm.
Everybody communicates. We have shared values. Like a lot of people, it's unfortunate that a lot of people come from broken relationships and this,
Mhm.
that, and the other thing. But, just because you come from broken relationships doesn't mean you can't have strong, beautiful ones. And I think because of my understanding of what I had growing up, and now as I grow through the world, I have a deeper appreciation for my parents, and they show me that it's possible to have a
Mhm.
successful, beautiful relationship. So my standards are set so high now
Mhm.
that I won't accept anything less than you know a, you expect excellence in your life, and you expect excellence in your partner. And it's just great because I had these standards set in my life at a young age.
Mhm.
I was a golf course caddy for 8 years, and that was a really powerful experience for me too, because I'm with all these old heads, all these men who have made all their money already, and I'm hustling at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. in
Mhm.
the morning carrying their bag. And I just shut up and listen to all those people talk. And that was fundamental in my education. And then working at Disney was being a character performer at Disney, being friends with Goofy,
Yep.
Woody, Baloo.
Mhm.
These are really special things. And what I
Mhm.
came to learn is that the more you experience in life, the more you have to offer other people. And some people just settle for their environment. And that's what's great about America right now, where we're in a free market society, is that
Mhm.
you could educate yourself and go to work, and you could change your life, and you could change the life of your children. And the having a great home is not something to be scoffed at.
Mhm.
Having a great home, coming from a great home, is something to be applauded and appreciated and replicated. So yeah, man, you're 27 years old. I have my hat on right, and I know that blessings will continue to come to me as long as I stay. I keep God as my number one influence, and
Mhm.
I follow the 10 Commandments. And
Mhm.
I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner, but that's
Mhm.
deep in what we believe is Roman
Does
Catholic.
everybody, and so
Yeah,
right. I mean,
yeah, yeah. No, I think faith is a huge part of who I am, and
Mhm.
my upbringing, and the experiences I've had up until this point has made me who I am.
I
For
love
sure.
that. Hey, you just brought up Disney before, and I love this as the character. So you've played what characters? What was your favorite character to play when you were there?
Yeah, yeah. So I was friends
Hmm.
with Goofy,
Hmm.
Tigger, Woody, Baloo, and Green Army Man.
That's a hell of a group to run around with. That's awesome. But let me ask you, you also got the chance to observe the Disney culture. So my cousin Bryn was there and has also, and I can't remember the time. He's a little bit older than you, so it was probably a little bit before you were there. But it's one of the things that he talks about constantly in regards to what he was taught, even from a business and service acumen, not to mention the characters. What were your best takeaways when you were there? What's the stuff that you remember the most or that you used the most?
Yeah, organization, efficiency, and cleanliness.
Gotcha.
Yeah, how you appear to the customers, everything. So you want to present excellence. The reason why Disney can charge a premium
$1 billion, right? And people pay it. And me too,
is because there's only one Disney. Who's their competition? Universal. And Universal is more of a theme park. It's not the imagination that
right.
Disney is. So
I love that, man. And I love the imagination component as well, too.
I mean, Disney started in the mind of Walt Disney, one man.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't give up. I think he went bankrupt a couple times. And it was just his persistence and passion. And that's what's available here in America. It's a beautiful thing.
So, buddy, you were talking about the old heads on the golf course. And so I'm almost afraid to ask how you define old head by age. But I will let you know that I remember Walt Disney personally. I didn't meet him, but he did a television show. And he would be on every Sunday night introducing the wonderful world of Disney. So when you said old heads, I'm like, jeez, I'm almost afraid to hear.
I got a quick
mid-40s.
Yeah. I got a quick story.
Please do.
One of the things, one of the older people at the Safari Land,
Mm-hmm.
they were a tour giver. They said that when the parks were being built, Walt Disney remembered everybody's name, every single person. And I think that's so important. Is that when I call people, you hinted on, being authentic when you talk to people. Yep. My goal is to, give you energy, give you life. And I say the person's name. And I always want to leave people in a position that's better than when I found them. And I think that is, a big part of, with Walt Disney, so.
I love that story, but I can also vouch for the way that you did that with me. I was going to ask you, why is it you told me when we met the first time in some park in Philadelphia in Rittenhouse Square?
That's part.
Yeah, but even before that, I was going to say, you had said to me that it's really important for you to meet as many people that you're actually dealing with. The actual physical meeting is a big deal. And in this day and age where a lot of people younger, and no problem with this, you know what I mean? Everybody does business differently, are so social media, email intensive and what have you. You're the one specifically said, it's no, I need to meet as many people as humanly possible. Where did that come from?
Dude, it's pretty simple. You could ignore my text and you could ignore a phone call. But when two people are present, the Holy Spirit's present, and then it's just human interaction.
Yeah.
And I'm a happy person. People get along with me pretty easy. So yeah, I think meeting people is so important. It's a contact sport, but I think what we're doing also is really cool because we're creating a piece of content that hopefully inspires and uplifts people.
Right. But that also
I think you need both.
Absolutely. And for me, I consider this more of the meeting than of the, you know what I mean? Just because, again, it's I can't do this without that sort of connection. I just can't. It's one of those things where for me, some shy dweeby kid growing up that was afraid to make friends, it's I couldn't possibly revert back to that. I just couldn't. It's not a judgment thing. The energy that I get back is so powerful, and decisions get made, and lives improve and all that sort of thing, and that's where I alluded to the one thing you had said something to me. You weren't the only person, but it was a very powerful thing you said to me in regards to just getting, and I'll just say filing it under the category of just getting to it, right? And that was that same day in the park that we were talking about a bunch of other things, and one of the avenues that I continually work on for me is that sense of succinct comments, just getting to it. And I remember you shared with me, we talked for a while, and I wasn't getting to it. And you had, in essence, just looked at me and said, well, why the hell aren't you just staying with the voice stuff? Because that's all you talk about. And I remember thinking it was a gutsy call for somebody you barely knew, and a very kind call for someone that, and I know I shared this with you, how much I deeply appreciated that. Deeply appreciated. I wasn't seeking permission, but when I feel that energy, and that goes back to why I ask, why is it so important that you physically meet people? You transform me.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, when two people are present, the Holy Spirit's present. I love being around you. I love shaking your hand. We got some great pictures together at the gala.
Right? Oh my God, and we will get to that in a minute. Jesus. So speaking of meeting people, from that, we're both at an event in Philadelphia, which just recently took place in the Real Producer.
Yeah, and John was the MC and killed it.
Oh my God, you're the best. You're the best. I love you for saying that. But I'll also say, Ian McKee was in what I feel like every single photo that took place. I've seen the organizers put out, well, we've got 348 photos. I see Ian in probably 300. If I'm doing over under, it's 300. Why does that matter? To me, it's that sense of being present and wanting to connect. That's what I was seeing as well too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, real estate is such a community of people. I'm a young man, 27 years old,
right,
and I get inspired by other mortgage professionals. I get inspired by other real estate agents. And I just, I'm grateful I'm in the room. I'm grateful that everybody's my peer, and I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do something special.
But from the real estate side, so that you're full on mortgage and finance and new homes and refi and the whole 9 yards. What got you to get to GoMagnum first off? And you started to talk about the sense of being in the in-house, joining the in-house team at Keller Williams Philadelphia. But what got you to get to GoMagnum?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is value. I was getting kind of worried about my current work situation because I didn't necessarily trust leadership. And I'm an educated, I am a hardworking man of integrity. So I started networking with all the other loan professionals, just being aware, because, you want to be respected by your peers and all that. And I ended up meeting this gentleman named Brandon Bailey. And Brandon is the chief operating officer here at GoMagnum Loans. And he was just I met him in the elevator. He was exuding confidence. And I was just like, yo, who is this guy? I introduced myself. And then I followed up with him. And the next day, some drama was going down between me and my current situation. And I was like, I don't like this. So I called Brandon. I was like, hey, I'd love to take you out for dinner. I think we need to talk. And I took Brandon out. He actually said, I've got a closing at Keller Williams Philadelphia at 3.
Oh, there you go. Right.
It's like his third one that week. and he was like, yeah, let's grab drinks after. And we sat down, and I realized that him and I we really got along. We talked about how we were both correspondent lenders and how he's a broker. So GoMagnum Loans is different than Wells Fargo. It's different than Guaranteed Rate, Movement Mortgage. GoMagnum is like in their own lane as a broker, and there are other brokers in the city. But understanding the difference between a broker and a correspondent. I mean, we finance 1 to 10 units, and then on the primary stuff, we finance it without issue, and our rates are like extraordinarily good. And my last representation, my last company, I can honestly say that I would love to sit next to him and get handed a loan opportunity, and I guarantee you that GoMagnum would kill him. And like, that's just such a confidence, because I was in a situation where I was like, confused and struggling, and realtors were giving me some play. But then after I became a broker and I gave the presentation again, the engagement and the deals went through the roof because people saw the value. And I'm so grateful that people believe in me and believe in GoMagnum Loans, because first they have to believe in me. The realtor is giving me a chance to show them what I can do.
Right.
And you know, I appreciate that trust, but I also love the fact that GoMagnum backs it up in a really special and wonderful way, and delivering a product that, you know, just adds value to people. So
I love the way you lit up. You just lit up in what was made available or what was manifested to you in regards to the situation. I light up when I hear somebody say, and you literally went and called them directly, him, not them, him, and you know, and hey, look, let's go. A lot of people don't have the guts to do that. So I love to see that sort of manifestation. That it's like, Jesus, like that risk kind of pays off. You also said something a second ago where you're like,
real
first
quick,
do it.
It really pays off because we're starting to hire. I'm from Wisconsin, and I was a correspondent lender in Wisconsin, and there's opportunity. The industry in 2008, the industry was, you know, like 70% brokers, 30% banks, correspondents. And now it's 90 big bank correspondent, 10% broker. And you're going to see a shift over the next 10, 20 years of more loan officers becoming brokers. And I think GoMagnum has such amazing branding that we're positioned really well to help a lot of other loan professionals.
Why do you think the shift will happen?
Well, because folks will appreciate the fact that they could be, you know, independently employed, and that technology is so readily available that they could efficiently run the systems that a bank can now run.
And maybe not everybody loves banks as much as big corporate behemoth banks. I mean, you need them, hell.
When you call, you want an answer within 15, 45 minutes. You need an update. You need to be confident that your client is going to be taken care of.
Well, and I need to know that I can trust the person that I'm speaking with. You just said something. First, it's like, well, first they have to buy me or believe in me. You just quoted something today. I love this. There's a difference in thinking you are a champion and knowing you are a champion. Some guy puts that up there on their social page today. When did that happen? When did you know you were a champion?
Yeah, so I would say I've been personally developing myself for 6 years. And I think a champion is somebody who maximizes the day. And if you maximize the day, you'll have more opportunity awarded to you. So I think I just have always approached at least the last 3-4 years, approached my day with the champion spirit. And I know if I'm going to take the action, things are going to happen. You know, I might meet somebody, you know, tomorrow that'll have a massive impact on my life. You just never know. And that's what's great about sales, is because sales is a contact sport. And the more contacts that you have and the more clear you are with your branding and your messaging, the more people that you can help and enroll in your mission. And that's something that a lot of this confidence came from Lewis Howes. So when I was...
Oh, I love Lewis Howes. That's great.
So when I was like 20 years old, 21 years old, I was just getting drunk and just like, I was just like every other kid in college.
Yeah, that's hardly unusual. I told you, I was 20 of the best years of my life getting my 4-year degree at Villanova. So it's not like I don't know.
Well, John, I wasn't happy in college. I was depressed. It was like one of the worst times in my life.
Why?
Because I was so bored. I felt disconnected from my environment. I kind of wish that I went to a city school or something with a lot of action.
Right.
But I felt like kind of isolated in Whitewater, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And that's when I discovered reading and weightlifting. Now that's when I discovered podcasting and Lewis Howes and Grant Cardone and Joe Dispenza and all these people who are, just next level people. And I consider myself, I've always had big ambitions. And once I started to get the technical skill to match my personality, and now my technical skill grows every day, like you just create momentum for yourself. So, you know, a champion, you just have to wake up. For anybody out there listening, you have to wake up and say, I'm going to make today a champion day. And what does making today a champion day look like? I'll tell you what it looks like for me now. For me, it means waking up and getting my workout in the morning, getting my endorphins going, listening to a positive tape from like Jim Rohn, Grant Cardone, Zig Ziglar. So I'm getting my spirit of the day right.
More old heads that you got in there too. Thank God.
And so I'll make calls from 8 a.m. to 12 prospecting, intentional prospecting, because when I pick up the phone, I'm adding value to my realtor partner's life.
Yep.
I mean, that is my intention. And so then I spend the rest of my day on meetings, communicating with clients. And, you know, at the end of the day, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, when the work is done for the day, you know, that, and I can look back on the day. I'm like, is this today a champion day? And not all days are champion days. Some days suck. Some days are like a 2. Some days are like a 2 or a 3. And other days are like a 10, you know? And, you know, one more thing I'd like to say is I'd rather be consistently good than occasionally excellent. And that's why you need to build winning habits. I'm not a champion because I say I'm a champion. I'm a champion because I get up every day and I created winning habits. Let's go.
I love. I remember you saying, and you just described it so much better when you would say, look, your health is non-negotiable. Like that, I said, it's my one non-negotiable is my health, you. And right, as I said, I feel like the energy that just like not oozes, like jumps out from you. Validates it, and there's no reason for me to ask you why. Here's my only thing. But you said, so I'm nuts about Lewis Howes. I'm nuts about, I'm lucky enough that I attended a 10X in Miami a few years ago. But you said, Joe, I don't.
By the way, I was there too.
What year?
Yeah, I think it was 2019.
It was the same year.
Yeah, 35,000 people in a.
It was in Marlins Park or whatever they're calling it now. That was the same. That was the year. That was my year.
That was a great event, John.
Jesus. All right. So, do you remember by any chance, like who was the of the guest speakers? Obviously, Grant Cardone and Elena and all that stuff. But who was your most memorable of a killer list of speakers? Killer.
Oh my God. John Maxwell, without a doubt.
Oh my God. Right.
I was sitting in the upstairs. I was sitting in the back.
Oh my God, I'm in the bleachers.
And I felt like John was just talking to me.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah. So I get John Maxwell's tapes every single morning. And by the end of the year, I'd like to be a John Maxwell certified life coach.
Nice.
Or just like, you know, develop that education. Cause I'd like, you know, I'm just going to start hiring more and more people and growing because of, you know, which is great. So anyways,
I love this.
Who was your favorite speaker?
Yeah. It was 2.
And why, what was it about them? And why do you remember them to this day? All that.
Yeah. And it was 2. And there was a bunch. Bethany Frankel, I was blown away by how much I liked her and I didn't expect to, but I'll give you my top 2. Number 1, I'll say number 2 was Sarah Blakely and from Spanx. And I just didn't have any much of a reference point, and I found there was 2 things about her.
Yeah.
That a million things, but I'll just say 2. Yeah. Number 1, how unassuming she is for someone who's part of a $1 billion empire. Woo! And number 2, it's she could describe the strategy when she was being interviewed in literally a few steps. You were like, she got you there fast. And so here's a very unassuming somebody you might just see again in a park, whatever. You know what I mean? Nice person.
No, she's beautiful, man.
Right.
She's crazy beautiful, bro.
And she's and forgive me. I'm meanwhile preferring to hit on Jesse Itzler, but that's all right.
It's Jesse Itzler.
Sorry. Yep.
Jesse Itzler. I'm actually purchasing his big ass calendar. It's 365.
I know what you mean.
I love Jesse Itzler. The fact their relationship is so inspiring and so beautiful. You know, it just makes me dream big
Yes.
They inspire me.
And I love how different they are. They speak differently, they act differently, they have different energies. I love that. But here's my number one. My number one was Steve Harvey. Who closed out the first night. And and I've shared with this, he's a guy I just didn't know enough about him, and I was ready to dismiss. Just some game show host, just some game show. I don't know, some marginal. It's horrible to say. Some marginal medium TV personality. Yeah. Good enough for a game show. We go. I remember, and you talked about where you were seated. We were probably in the same section. I'm a million miles away. I am getting choked up and literally bawling because of how powerful his story was. And the risks and going to the stand-up club with no material and sleeping in his car. And the first time he showed up at a stand-up comedy night, like an audition, like an open mic night. And I'll never forget that. And it was just that sense of like appreciation and knowing how hard it can be. And he was able to convey that and how he was able to push past all that. And to this day, I can still hear, and more importantly, I can still feel like what that was like. And I remember I'm with a buddy of mine, he's closer to your age. Like we're both there, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe what we just heard, you know? So yeah, those were why. It's different vantage points, different crowds, but just that sense of not just putting in the work, but a sense of such appreciation for getting there, you know?
Right. Well, I want to say, look at us, John. I mean, we're on the frequency. This is already a great interview because
thank you, man. Like I feel the same way, right?
Because we're connected, right? And you know, when you go to find out more information, that's the thing about life. What we talked about earlier, the more you experience in life, the more you have to offer other people. Here we are. We went to this event, and it was so instrumental in our lives that it influenced us for the good that we're talking about it 3 years later.
Exactly.
And so that's why we're making a podcast now, is because we want to affect
change and help somebody. We want
to positively influence our friends, our partners. We want to do great. Like there's this, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
You might hate me for this.
I'm sure I won't. But anyway, tell me.
No.
What's it? Another young thing? Me and my 22.
No, I'm gonna tell you something. So there's this guy who I really love, and he vapes nicotine. And I used to vape nicotine.
Okay, yeah, and I know people that did. Yeah.
It wasn't until this girl Brittany Nettles, Brittany challenged me because I got picked up the bad habit as I was in the loan business, being a little stressed. And Nettles was like, "What are you doing? That's what are you doing?" Right. And I started running. In order to get rid of the bad habit, I started running 10 miles a week. And after 21 days, I no longer had the desire to smoke nicotine. I actually looked down on the activity because I, had overcome it. Right. And I know how I energetically feel. And so I could pour love and stuff to other people, and I could challenge people like, "Hey, why are you smoking?" And at the end of the day, they know that it's like almost a form of self-sabotage. It's almost like a form of you don't love yourself enough to not do that. It's crazy. And it wasn't until Nettles was pointed that out to me, because whatever reason I was saying that it was fine to do was just me making a reason, an excuse to do it. When in reality, the person you're going to want to be 2 years from now, right? Does the highest version of yourself smoke nicotine? Does the highest version of yourself stuff themselves with cake every night? Does the highest version of yourself wake up late? Does the highest version of yourself take 3 days to follow up? Fuck no. And so you said one of the reasons why you like me so much is because it's so easy and authentic. I genuinely love people. And even if someone doesn't like me, I have the confidence in myself to be like, I don't need your validation. What are you doing, bull? How close are you to being a champion today? And the people who are closest to it, living in their highest truth, are people I get along with right away, and we have an
I got you.
The other people that you have to talk to, try to pump up. just lead by example and they'll catch up or they'll fall down.
Or they won't, right? Or they won't, right?
And that's fine. It's fine. So,
But you just said so. Brittany Nettles, folks, if you don't know, well, you need to know, and you probably already do know, is a powerhouse at Keller Williams, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And as part of the founder of the She Moves Philly team, with Britt McLaughlin. And
yes.
but the question I ask you is this, because I'm curious for myself. I remember for a lot of years, I drank for a lot of years. I was terrible at it. Yeah. I just was never any good. But, I'll just have to get better. And so I spent the next close to 30 some odd years trying to improve upon an unwinnable sport for me. But that's just me and my deal. But here's why I bring that up. It's more of the case. You said, so Brittany Nettles lays the gauntlet down for you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But here's the thing. Why did you accept the challenge? And that's to me.
All right, I'll say this.
So why'd you accept it?
Yeah, because I admire Brittany Nettles as a business professional and as just a beautiful human. So I'm like,
agreed.
I'm like, all right, I respect her, and I have, I want to have a business that closes 65 million in a year.
Right.
I was like,
with a few people, you know what I mean?
I was like, why would I listen to this teenager, this idiot? Why didn't I listen to someone who actually has the results I want, who has a beautiful smile and somebody I respect, right? Like I look for that too. Like I if you're living life with passion and joy, and you follow up with people and you deliver excellence, those are people I want to be friends with. I don't want to be friends with with folks who are just, doing things. Like I want people who want to be a better version of themselves every single day. And I admire Nettles for doing that every day. She still does it to this day, and she's cooking. She wants to see how big she can go.
Exactly.
Right.
This is almost like not a game, but she keeps challenging herself in a situation where you just wouldn't have to.
Right. Right. So I just admired Nettles and I took the challenge and I passed it. I did it, and it's like,
and you did it.
That's done and over with. What else can I do? How many books can I read in a year? What else can I accomplish? How many deals can I close in a year? How many friends can I make in a year? Like now it's becoming how big can I go? Right. Like I'm not worried about little activities. I'm worried about eating great foods and expanding my business, which is so exciting.
And you'd feel that, but you're also expanding you said it earlier, which is it's the linear part of what you do is you're crushing it with GoMagnum Loans. And that's fun, and you feel all of that. But then the brand, so to speak, has expanded a lot further out for you and keeps going. So you start a podcast, Champion Chat. We were talking about Champion earlier and all that stuff. For you, what's the fundamentals in terms of what are you looking for? Not what you're putting up, but what are you looking for when you're finding people, for Champion Chat or when you're conveying a message? What are you looking for?
Yeah, it's just pretty simple. I have to be inspired by the individual. And that inspiration can come in a variety of ways, whether that's somebody who's gotten 2 plane crashes and still alive, whether that's somebody who has accomplished a lot in business, whether that's somebody who's defeated alcoholism and is now sober. It's a champion story. It's almost one of the magic of the Champion Chat podcast is that it's almost a feeling and a story, and everybody has a different one. And I believe everybody has a champion story if they wake up and have a champion day. So
I love that. What do you get out of it?
Oh, just, it's a community of people who are inspired, and the more times you talk to people and are inspired by the stories of others, the more inspired you'll be. If you're focused on shit television and just listening to stuff that doesn't matter, that's what you'll become. So I want to create a community of champions and just be with everybody, and inspire others, lift people up.
I love that. So you've talked about the people that are inspiring you in regards to high performance and the Lewis Howes and the John Maxwells and what have you. Who is inspiring you in regards to just your day to day? Whether it's business colleagues, whether it's but from day to day, who inspires you?
Yeah. So you're the combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
and I'm with Christian and Brandon all the time. And
Great.
Christian Best started the organization 11 years ago. Brandon joined him like 10 and a half years ago. And Brandon's, he's here right now. I'm looking at his Porsche, right next to my Subaru Crosstrek.
For the moment, you're just efficient. You're just being efficient. You ain't the showy type.
And it's 6:45 on a Monday night, and he's here. He's going to be here till 10 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So I'm really inspired by Brandon's hard work ethic. And then Christian challenges me to be creative. He really asks me the right questions and says the right things to make me more creative. And wow, it's great to be creative, right? Because whatever you're doing, whatever results you're getting in your life, you're getting those results because you're doing the habits, the actions to get there. If you want an expanded life, a bigger life, you have to do different actions. You have to have different conversations. You have to talk to different people. So the combination of Brandon's work ethic to Christian's creativity is, it's me. It's 100% Ian McKee. So I'm here for it. And then I have a beautiful girlfriend, Annabelle. Annabelle is, I really admire how mature she is. She's 23 years old and she's beautiful and she knows what she wants. And she is a great influence on my life as well. So those are like the three closest people to me. Obviously, my parents are a huge part too. I like to talk to my parents weekly, if not daily. But the people who are closest to me at 27 years old, I'm with Brandon, Christian, and Annabelle, and I'm running.
So I love a freaking fantastic answer. And I was just going to say, talk to me a little bit, like you said, so Annabelle at 23, knows what she wants, but what are the traits that she exudes that you find the most admirable?
Beauty. She's very youthful and beautiful. She's very graceful and kind to people. She's fiercely loyal. Wow. And she is, she's going to make a great mother one day. I don't she's just a mad cool chick. I really love being around her. And things have been going well. So yeah, that's that.
I think it's fantastic. Hey, look, I was going to say, first off, it's you could feel that you are, with all of the leveling up that you're doing and the way that you're helping a bunch of people, that the playing field is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger for you. So one of the things I would ask you right now, which would be, is this. So is there something big and brewing that you've got in your mind that you want to unleash that you just haven't yet, or you haven't told people yet, that I intend to do? And if you have that, would you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly just improving my position as a loan professional, like getting my volume up, because I think once I hit a certain amount of income per month, I think, people are listening to me now, but once I hit, some pretty outstanding numbers, people are going to listen even more. And I think that's it. I'm just working and building my inspirational story and going to have great conversations with people as I go. But yeah, the systems and stuff, I'm not going to give that free game away to any other loan officers here. Because I educate myself. I listen to all the podcasts. I got swag like that. I'm working harder than a lot of these bulls out here. And I ain't going to give that free game away. No cap.
Good. Well, that's all right. It'll be worth the wait as well, too. Ian McKee, how are we finding you? What's the best way to find you?
Yeah, no, pretty simple. You can email me at ian@GoMagnumLoans.com, or you can add me mortgage_champion and send me a direct message. I'd love to help out anybody with their home financing, whether it's purchasing 1, 2, 10 units. I think you'd be really impressed with our rates, our customer service, and our technology.
And you are Pennsylvania?
Yeah, we are PA. We are Texas.
Oh, okay.
We got Texas. California is going to be live very soon. New Jersey is going to be live at the end of the year. Florida is going to be live at the end of the year. And then we are also in Georgia. Actually, we did 3 pre-approvals for Georgia this past weekend. So yeah, PA, Georgia, Texas. There are a couple others, but we do a vast majority of our business in Philadelphia County.
And you can work in all those states.
Yeah, of course.
There you go. Right. And And you just said the very last thing that you just slid in there, which I love, which was, well, so for selfish reasons, I love the fact you're in Philadelphia just because I happen to be here. Is that where you see yourself for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I really love this community. I get a lot of buyers coming from New York, DC. Like, people are moving here. Philly's on its way up. I'm pretty optimistic. I know it's a little dangerous at times, but I'm optimistic about the real estate. I'm optimistic about the place. So yeah, I see myself here for a while. But yo, John, I want to acknowledge you because I've done a vast majority of the talking, and I appreciate.
Oh, good.
But I want to acknowledge you. You have such confidence and courage, and that's what I admire about you as a man, is because, speaking in front of 250, 300.
I heard it was 300, man.
That's pretty terrifying, right?
And
I bet you were nervous before that, right?
Maybe. I'll share this with you. So it was about 6. So the event started at 7 p.m. It's in the 6s. So the very first person I saw, it's a little before 6, is Chris Stevens. So I'm not changed yet. We were there to do sound check hours before, and then by that time, now it's on, right? So I'm not in the tux or nothing like that, and I'm a little bit unglued. Like, I'm in one of the conference rooms, which is basically the prize closet, where they're just throwing all the trash from, the swag and all that sort of thing. And then you got me sitting at the table, and I'm all frayed edges and jagged nerves and, blah, blah, blah. And it was Chris Stevens from Keller Williams, Philadelphia, who I love to death. And one of the main reasons that I continue to keep my license at KW Philadelphia is him. And so he helped me. Yeah. And I literally, he sticks his head in. He's all decked out in a $1 billion suit. Right?
He looked great.
He just looked spectacular. And so I look up and I yell.
Like a champion. He looked like
a champion, like a boss, like a champion. Right? There you go. And I literally yelled, what the hell are you doing here? He's like, well, the event's starting in 18 minutes. And I'm like, oh. Like, it changed. Run into the empty, said hello to a few people. I got a picture with you, and I remember as well, and a couple in the outside part. I'm in that room by myself, and the DJ's there and a couple of other people. And I say all that because it was like, yeah, damn right I was nervous. But something happened that has happened to me before, and it's that sense of just allowing yourself to really be in a moment. That was not always easy for me. But it was that sense of just looking at the tables, looking at the seats, looking at the DJ, and he's saying, all right, do you want me to introduce you like this? And something clicked. Yeah. And what that is, I had been there before. And that's the number one thing. Have I been in that specific room? Had I done that assignment? No. But I've been there before. And that's one of the things I convey to anybody, which is you've been in situations where you've been challenged. And what's important is to draw on one of them. And I was remembering presentations I had made in the past and all that stuff and how they went. And so about 5 of, I was kind of pacing, but I knew it was going to be okay. I knew it was going to be okay. I'd had written notes that in case I blank out and all that sort of thing, I just put them all aside. I'm like, I'm just going to talk. Yeah. And so that's how it went. And it was great. And I really appreciate the acknowledgement, man.
Yeah, I think you went up there and you were hilarious.
Thank you for that.
I enjoyed being there. You made the night very enjoyable. And
thank you for that. But I'll end with one more thing. And here's a trick that I've used in terms of speaking, and you were part of it. And that's why I'll bring it up, which is it helps so much. And one of the best gifts, in addition to your talent, your energy, your drive, and all that sort of stuff, is just to be able to look at somebody sometimes and get that sense of kindness and confidence and energy radiating. So there was a few vantage points where I could look, and you were one of them. You were right there. You were literally at the first table.
We sat VIP. Go, man.
Right. So I kept looking over, and Christian Mess is there, right? And I kept looking over, and I see that big smile that you're throwing right now, and it just was the old adage, like, I guess everything's going to be okay. And it was. It was way better than that. So I acknowledge you, because I could just keep drawing on that energy as it was going, and all that nonsense of, what if I forget? What if I go blank? What if I freeze up, freak out, but, flop sweat? I would just look over at a few people, and you were one of them. And I see that big smile, and it's like, no, it'll be okay.
Woody from Toy Story. You got you got a friend in me, John. It's really that simple.
It's one of the things I don't take it for granted, man. And as an old head will say, I am so damn grateful. Ian McKee, thank you for making the time for this as well, too. Honest to God, you just made it great for me, my friend. I am really grateful that you showed up for me.
I appreciate that.
Hey,
I thank you for having me on.
Oh, and anytime, and that is an open door, man. Anytime you want to come back, that is all for you, brother. You got so much to offer, and you give so much. That's the coolest thing, is that you're a very, very generous man, and that part's great. Thank you for all of it as well, too.
All right, thank you, John. Have a great night.
100%. And folks, you've just heard another episode of Your Message Received. Your Message Received is the place to find your most authentic, true voice. We thank Ian McKee for showing up and lending his. Speaking of lending, and as well, too, you know where to find the links to find Ian will be at the bottom of this. So when you're listening, you will have no trouble finding Ian McKee, and he's worth the find. Folks, keep liking, keep listening, keep responding, and we will keep pumping out more content, that is. John Duffer from Duffer Media, thanks so much for tuning in, and have a great evening. Be well, all.
And now, making its way across the finish line, Your Message Received has been a production of Duffer Media.